Welcome to the Publish Creator Podcast, the show where books become brands and creators become CEOs. I'm your host, Rodney Washington, a book coach, brand strategist, and founder of the Published and Thriving movement. If you're an author, coach, or content creator with a book, or even just an idea, this podcast will show you how to turn it into a thriving offer, a loyal community, and a lasting legacy. Each week, I'll share real-world strategies, inspiring success stories, and behind-the-scenes coaching to help you build momentum, whether you're just publishing your first book or ready to expand into courses, memberships, and more. Because publishing isn't the end of the journey, it's the launch pad. Let's build your brand, multiply your impact, and create the freedom you deserve. Enjoy today's episode. The new way to build authority in 2026. Hint, it's bigger than a book. You know, for years we've asked, how do I write a book? How do I grow a podcast? How do I build my personal brand? But here's the question that almost no one is asking. How do I build authority that actually creates opportunities? Because those are two very different things. Something happened recently that completely challenged the way that I think about the subject of building authority. Recently, I attended my very first podcast summit in Atlanta, Georgia, hosted by David Shands of the Social Proof podcast. And honestly, I wasn't prepared at all for how much it would challenge the way I think about building authority. Spending 2 days immersed in conversations with creators, entrepreneurs, podcasters, YouTubers, and business owners who have built incredible companies around their expertise. And somewhere between the sessions, the conversations, and the pages of notes, and I took a lot of notes, I realized that we've been asking the wrong question as published creators. Some of the people in this room have built multi-million-dollar companies. Many more were there to learn how to launch their first podcast. Others, like myself, came to learn the latest tricks, tips, and strategies for getting more views and downloads. But the leaders in the room, the ones who build multi-million-dollar brands, didn't achieve their coveted status because they had a revolutionary invention or because they went viral overnight, which is the thing that everyone wants, the holy grail everyone wants, but because they've learned how to build trust at scale. As I listened, took notes, and reflected on my experience, one thought just keeps coming back to me. Authority has changed. Not because people value expertise any less, quite the opposite. Today, expertise is everywhere. AI can summarize it, Google can find it, YouTube can teach it. So if everyone has access to information, what makes someone become the person people actually follow? And that's what I've been wrestling with. What most people think authority is. For years, we've been told, write a book, start a podcast, launch a YouTube channel, speak on stages, build an email list. And these are all good things. And I've done every one of them. I've written books. I've launched 4 podcasts. I've led multi-speaker virtual workshops. I've coached incredible clients, and I'm grateful for every single bit of it. But as I look back on my experience from the conference, I realized something. None of those things create authority by themselves. They're platforms, they're amplifiers. Authority comes from something much deeper. Now, here is the shift. One sentence that kept running through my mind all week: what got me here won't get me there. I heard that by a coach, James Wedmore, that said that on a podcast, and I've never lost that. That always stuck with me. Now, that doesn't mean that what I built wasn't valuable. It means that every season requires a different version of you, of myself. Writing my first book required courage. Launching my first podcast required consistency. Growing a business required discipline. But stepping into leadership, that's something else entirely. Now, I'll be honest with you. Every major milestone in my life started before I felt I was ready. When I published my first book, I had no idea. Trust me, I had no idea what I was doing. When I launched my first podcast, the same thing. Back in 2009, after losing my last client during the economic crash, I had a decision to make. I could retreat or I could create. 30 days later, after I lost that last client, it was on December the 13th of 2008. I hosted my first virtual summit with 14 presenters. Looking back, I laughed because I had literally no clue what I was doing, but I made the decision, then I figured it out. And that's been the pattern of my entire entrepreneurial journey. Decision, action, growth, not confidence, certainty, then action. Now, you know what's funny? You may be asking yourself, why is he holding this book? Well, I'm holding it and it's not even finished yet. But you know what's something I want to tell you? It's already creating conversations, opportunities, it's creating podcast interviews, collaborations, and new relationships. And that's exactly the point. You see, most people think they have to wait until the book is done before they can start benefiting from it. But I believe actually the opposite. The moment you decide to build your authority, share your ideas, and create opportunities around your message that you've already started, okay? That's what the Entrepreneur Decision, this book that I'm currently working on right now, is all about. Now, as I said, this book is actually a mock-up. It's not even finished yet, but it's already creating opportunities for me. So if you're a coach, a consultant, a speaker, a creator, or an expert with a message to share, I'd love to give you a preview. If you'd like to download a free sample chapter using the link in the show notes or use the QR code that's on the screen, because I can guarantee you it might completely change the way you think about books. Now, again, get back to the episode that you're watching today, and don't forget to download a sample chapter of this preview book that's coming up and the strategy that I'm using behind this book, which is actually completely blank on the inside. See you on the other side. I help people publish books, and that's true, but it's actually incomplete because the book was never the goal. The book was always the invitation. It was the beginning. It was the catalyst because people don't need another book. They need someone who can help them recognize the value they've been sitting on, help them articulate it, package it, build experiences around it, create communities around it, lead with it. The book simply becomes one expression of that leadership. So does the podcast. So does a workshop. So does a keynote. So does a membership. So does a mastermind. They're all parts of the same ecosystem. Now, here is the new way to build authority. If someone asked me today, Rodney, what's the fastest way to build authority in 2026? My answer would surprise them. I, first of all, would say, don't start with platform, start with transformation. Who are you becoming? Who are you helping become someone different? What movement are you inviting people into? Then build books around that, build podcasts around that, build workshops around that, build communities around that, build partnerships around that. Your authority isn't the book. Your authority isn't your follower count. Your authority is the trust you've earned by consistently helping people move from where they are to where they want to be. Everything else is simply the delivery system. Okay? So as I sit here reflecting on my recent experience, I honestly feel like I'm entering a new chapter. Not because I've abandoned books. I love books. Anyone who knows me, or if you've been to any of my podcasts or listened to any of my episodes, you know that I love books. But today I'm more interested in what happens after someone publishes one. How do they use that book to build influence? Is it income? Is it community? Is it opportunities? Is it impact? Is it legacy? That's the conversation I'm excited to have. And I think that's where the Published Creator is headed. So if this episode resonated with you, I'd love to invite you to download a complimentary preview of my forthcoming book, The Entrepreneur Decision. Because every meaningful journey, as I've expressed in this conversation today, began with one thing, one decision. One decision. You make one decision to move forward. You make one decision to create. So I'm going to leave you with this. Until the next time, keep creating, keep serving, and remember, people buy people. Now, as we wrap, again, I want to leave you with one final thought. If today's podcast episode challenged the way you think about building authority, then I want to invite you to take the next step. Because again, as I mentioned a moment ago, I've written a forthcoming book I'm working on right now called The Entrepreneur Decision. And it's not a book about writing books. It's about making one of the most important decisions you'll ever make as an entrepreneur. The decision to stop thinking like a content creator and start building like an authority. And inside, I'll show you why your book is just the beginning, how to think in terms of an ecosystem instead of individual assets, and why your message has the potential to create far more impact than you may have ever imagined. I love to give you a complimentary copy of the preview copy. And again, you can visit the show notes inside the description here to get access to that website, or you can all click on the QR code that's also available if you're watching the video iteration of this on YouTube to be able to get access to it. The bottom line is this. Every successful entrepreneur I've ever met had one thing in common. Before they had clarity, before they had confidence, before they had strategy, they made a decision. Maybe today is yours. Until next time, keep creating, keep serving, and keep building an authority that's bigger than a book. See you in the next episode of the podcast.